morning. It is a beautiful day here in Southern California. How beautiful, you might ask? They got the hot air balloons out, boys. Check this out. Super, super sweet, nice crisp air. So I am heading on down to Escondido. I'm late, as always. Test drive the new McLaren Artura. Guys, this is an e-assist V6 putting out over 671 horsepower. I'm excited to drive this car. It's a twin turbo V6 e-assist. McLaren claims it's the stiffest and most lightest and stiffest McLaren to date. So I'm curious to get behind the wheel. I've been behind the wheel of multiple McLarens. I owned a McLaren 12C for 2.5 years. So I put over 25,000 miles on that car, and I've driven countless other McLarens. So I'm curious to see what this car can do. Based on the location, it's like a $4 million mansion up in the hills in North County, San Diego. Based on the location, it looks like we're gonna be probably carving through the canyons up there in North County, I'm sorry. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the car can actually do. And I'll catch up with you guys when we're over there and we'll have a little bit of fun. Thanks, bro. All right, boys, so I'm running pretty late. When you're running late, you pop it in manual mode and race mode, boys. Listen, guys, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that last night actually, was the first time I ever put the GTS in race mode. I'm driving it now for the second time ever in race mode, and let me tell you, it's absolutely mental. I mean, this car is violent. But it's very composed. So pleased with this car so far. It's such a joy to drive. Has so much power. It's got the looks. And but we're gonna compare it right now, neck and neck, to the McLaren Artura. So I'm gonna take my car for a drive, the same exact course, give or take, that I take the Artura on. So I'll be able to kind of do a direct comparison. I'm excited to do that. I mean, these are two top dogs in the game. Obviously, Mercedes is winning medals. They're getting the podiums in F1. McLaren kind of has fallen a little bit behind, but has been making a comeback this year. So these two brands are neck and neck right now. They're competing for the best of the best in the world, and the technology is the best in the world for these race cars and these street legal, track capable race cars. And so I'm just excited. I'm super excited to see what this new McLaren can do. Check it out. I just got here and you're never gonna guess what happened. It's a one-way road up and down to this gigantic mansion. I don't know if you could see, it's got like 10 bathrooms and like 7 bedrooms or something, but I recognize that car right there, and the driver of it was heading down a one-way as I was heading up, even though the dude down at the bottom had a walkie-talkie. He was like communicating with somebody up here, and he gave me the thumbs up. So I'm heading up and we kind of met. It was like a little showdown right at the middle of this lane. I'm not reversing down this one-way. I'm gonna fall off the cliff. So they had to switch drivers and reverse it on back. So I'm about to hop into one of these Arturas hopefully soon, and we'll have some fun. We'll see what it can do, guys. Wow, it's dope.
Taking one to registration.
All right, guys, we're about to get registered.
All right, well, I just set them up.
Check out
so
the view.
Another car, 'cause that'd be messed up.
Absolutely amazing. This house is absolutely amazing. Wow, there goes one right there. There it is, guys. Why we are here. Love the spec on that. I think that's amethyst or something, right? What a beautiful view. All right, let's go get registered, guys, and we'll see what's going on. Hello. Sweet.
Hi, Sarah. How are you doing?
Jonesy.
All right.
Yeah, you can have one.
I can have one?
Yes,
Nice.
of course.
Add it to the collection.
Name, sir?
AJ.
AJ, we spoke on the phone.
Yeah, sweet.
Can
Yeah, I was running late.
Yeah,
Thank you for
okay.
calling.
Yes, thank you.
You're right.
Okay, sweet. Guys, this is like a 10 or 12 bathroom house. It's insane. Reminds me of a hotel. All right, found one of them. Guys, I step out of the bathroom and I just see the back end of an Artura just sitting here. Is that what this is? Sure is. Wow. Oh, okay. Here we go. A couple of them here. This house is epic. Sweet. Sweet. All right, guys, let's go see what he can do. Kind of go through this with everybody that's a real car junkie.
Of course,
So
yeah.
that you can see kind of know the history of these. If you had a McLaren, you're probably aware that that was our first street car.
Of
although
course,
a lot of people
yep.
claim it was the F1.
Right,
But
right.
we were just a coach builder for the F1.
Right.
We designed it and we did a coach build, but that's like Pininfarina.
Right.
Back
right.
with the Italian
Yeah, BMW built the motor, and
It
it was a
their
collaboration.
car, and we
essentially,
weren't licensed to sell street cars, so we were just the coach builder, just like Pininfarina has built cars for BMW or for Alfa.
Gotcha.
You can't go out and buy a Pininfarina car,
Right.
Because they were a coach builder for these other car companies. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%.
So that's what the F1 was in 2000-ish, and then in 8-9 they did the same thing with Mercedes-Benz
with that
which was-
McLaren collaboration, the
with
SLR.
with the SLR, which was
Right.
kind of the forerunner for the design of your GTS, right?
Right.
But it technically still wasn't a McLaren, although we built the carbon tub for it. We
Right,
did all the
right.
engineering for it. We were a coach builder.
Then McLaren
for
said, we got to
Mercedes-Benz.
build our own.
And then they started looking at the response they were getting. And then in 2010, they applied for and got a license so that they could start selling street cars. Thus
Amazing.
the MP412C, okay? So what made that car different?
I love this color. It's always been one of my favorites, the
So
amethyst.
this is the amethyst black.
Yeah,
This is
it's
my
one of my
favorite color.
Oh my god!
I'm not
it's
sure I would have
First time
gone-
I saw it was on a 600 LT, I remember, and it was just like, oh, this thing's cool.
I'm not sure.
It looks
I would have
black
gone with
almost.
the Vision Green, but it's
Interesting,
not
very
bad.
cool. Matches the
Racing
calipers.
stuff,
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes the specs are just pretty wild. Huh?
Yeah.
You see some of the ones in Florida for sale,
Oh,
and they're like,
especially in Florida.
like baby blue and white. Like,
Yeah.
what is going on?
But it's Florida.
Yeah, and it'll be like a 765 LT
Right,
Spider or something, you know, for like $1 million. Wow, looks amazing. Looks amazing. This is all leather?
Yeah. So this is the Tech Lux interior.
Nice. Okay, sweet.
So what made that 12C different than every other car was the carbon fiber tub.
Right.
Right. The monocell, the technical name. Here, I'll hold that. The technical name from McLaren is the monocell. That was the
Right.
monocell one.
The monocoque or whatever they call it, right? The monocell.
Everybody
little
refers
cockpit.
to it as the tub.
The tub, yep.
But it's this rear bulkhead, the floor, the front bulkhead, and these two big ribs.
I would
right?
always tell people you feel safe because you could just, as soon as you open that
Solid.
door, you see that thing, you could just hit, you know
So
you're
it's
in
built
something nice.
just like the tub for our Formula One cars. And it was built by race engineers, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things they didn't think about is like a lady getting in it with a skirt. So the sills, if you look at your old 12C, the sills were quite a bit higher and they were wider.
My way of getting, you always had to sit down facing this way.
And
then
then
swing your legs
and then
in.
do a Paris Hilton.
Yep.
Right.
And then
Swing your
everybody on every 12C, you'll see this part right
all
here.
bang from
It's
their
been
feet.
kicked 1,000 times. Yeah.
So that monocell one, that cockpit was used for the 12C and the P1.
Nice.
Okay, so they use the exact same cell, and then they bolt different front and rear ends on it. They learned a few things. All the people out there are going, "Hey, my wife isn't Lewis Hamilton. We need to make it easy to get in and out of it, right? Those guys can
make it a little bit
slide
more
in,
usable. Yeah.
But so they developed the monocell 2 when they introduced the 570. Sill was lower, narrower.
Yeah.
They lightened it a little bit.
Seemed
They
a little
made it
bit more sporty.
stronger. Yep.
Yeah.
That was the 570, the 720, the Senna, the Sabre, the 765, the 600.
All the same idea.
Same tub.
Oh,
the car
very
dimensions can change a little bit, but it's because of what they bolt on back here and what they bolt on.
Interesting.
up
Just
front.
like all the LTs, it's just kind of
They're all
long tails, yeah.
right? So it's the same tub. This is now a new tub. This is the monocell 3.
oh, interesting.
So the guys in the lab coats will tell you this thing's 17% stronger,
Lighter,
5% lighter,
Stiffer.
The tub itself took out everything else and took the front and the back of the car off. It's like 180 pounds.
Are they planning to use this for?
I'm guessing, based on their history,
Right.
this cell can be used for all our cars going forward if it's stronger and lighter.
Interesting.
And the big difference is what you can't see is now there's a dedicated engineered place
for the hybrid battery to go here. And that's what makes
Very
it, that's
cool.
the biggest difference between this monocell
I mean, technically it's their second hybrid, right?
It is, but with the original P1, they built the cell that was in your 12C, and they took an aluminum box and just bolted it to the back.
Oh, so this is kind of the whole new
This
technology.
is a dedicated, right? That was a, I don't want to say it was a Band-Aid fix. It was the way it was engineered.
It was early tech, yeah.
But they took it, they took just the cockpit and they bolted a box to it that had a battery.
Interesting.
This is an engineered piece where they've got an actual carbon fiber protection.
Is that why they call it like
box in it.
e-assist, or does that make any?
No, the e-assist is part of the drivetrain.
Okay.
But the cockpit or the monocell itself now has a dedicated space for a carbon fiber box to support and
very
be
cool.
a safety cage
For that
this battery.
lithium ion or
So
whatever
it's
it is.
it's a 7.4 kilowatt hour battery.
Wow.
That's designed, it sits flat. So picture like a laptop battery, you know, kind of the shape of them. It's long, it's not very high, it's wide, it's like the palm of my hand, and it slides into the car.
Still your standard trickle charger for everything?
It's a standard charger, so
like any other e car then?
yeah,
okay,
like a
gotcha.
plug-in, no
gotcha.
difference than a plug-in.
Do you
RAV4.
trickle charger it also? No.
You can.
Okay, but this is
So-
this does
So, but we just plug it in with this, and that takes care
okay
of it.
for like storage or what have you.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So these cars all come with a standard.
And this is a Spider.
This is not.
It's not. Oh
The
wow.
Spider will be out
Oh, but
in.
it fooled
in-
me.
because you don't see another seam right here.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right. This is the way they do the flying buttress. So that
Ah,
the air
that's
comes
very
through
cool.
here.
Ah, that's cool. Okay, sweet.
So it's a plug-in hybrid.
You know, this is the one McLaren I'm the least familiar with, to be honest. So all this info you're giving me is like
Well, that's why I'm
gold
giving
to
it
me.
to you. That's
Yeah,
why
I
I'm
mean
giving
it's
it to you.
seriously gold to me. It's new.
So, brand new monocell, probably the one they're going to use because it is stronger and lighter, and just because it has a space for a hybrid battery doesn't mean we have to use it for a hybrid.
Oh,
But
you
that
think they
gives
might
us
bring back a
options.
V8?
That gives us options in the future, right?
Because that's been the biggest talking point.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, wait, McLaren V6. They don't understand. Well, it has more power. It's stiffer.
And
it's
when
lighter.
you drive it,
It's faster,
You're
yeah.
gonna see, this is the wave of the future.
Gotcha.
Right? This is what all supercars, right?
Yep, yep.
Both new Ferraris, right? The 296 and the SF90.
Same.
Hybrids.
Gotcha.
All the new Lamborghinis. They say all their
Hybrids,
cars are gonna
yep.
be hybrids. Because what they're finding is
More
nothing
efficient,
is as
faster.
quick. These are way more efficient.
And they're meeting those regulations.
They can
and
meet
stuff.
the regulations if you're a high volume brick and mortar type car company, right? Under 2,500 units a year.
I mean, it's a beautiful
Probably
car.
don't have to meet those regulations, but we're hoping to sell more.
I was looking at some YouTube videos on it yesterday, and it seems like the reviews are mixed.
You know, people like what they like.
Yeah,
That's the thing
yeah,
about
you got.
reviews.
I mean, it looks
I'm
amazing.
one of those
though.
people that,
And I'm sure it
it's great
drives
that you get
amazing.
reviews, but when you get in it, I want you to tell me what you think.
To me, visually, it looks like the 12C had a baby with the 570.
They just smooth it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Every
Looks a little
line on-
wider than the 570.
It looks a little wider. It is wider in the back. They've got more rubber on it because it puts out more power. But so here's some stats that are interesting about this car. It probably has, for just one of our conventional sports cars, probably has the lowest center of gravity. So it's a V6. Most V6s are 90-degree V6s. This is 120 degrees.
Oh, so it
we've opened
sits
it
a
up.
little
It's
more
not
balanced.
flat like a Boxster motor, like a Porsche or a Subaru, but it's 120 degrees. It lowers the
Interesting.
center of gravity. The battery's down low. Brand new 8-speed transmission. We've never used it in one of our cars before. It sits down low. You can see where the transmission is.
Oh,
To
wow.
save weight, there's
Yeah.
no reverse gear in the transmission.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool too.
So there's no reverse gear. So reverse on this just uses the electric motor in the transmission.
So it's like silent.
Winds it backwards. So there's no
Wow.
reverse gear. So we save weight. The transmission's smaller. Because we don't have to have that secondary shaft.
Yeah,
and
so it
whole
just
different
removes that
gear, right?
whole entire
Just
gear.
gets rid of that
Wow,
whole thing. So
that's
you
cool.
just, you know, some of the big motorcycles like a Honda Goldwing, they do the same thing in the sense that they use the starter motor when you want to reverse.
To reverse it.
You hit the starter motor switch after you've put it in reverse, and
Oh.
it just winds the starter motor the other direction.
Some of these engineers, the ideas they come up with to lose a little weight. I'm sure the first guy that did that was like, it was like a
Exactly.
light
It's
bulb
like,
moment.
Oh, he went to his boss and said,
Dude,
hey, I
game
got an
changer.
idea.
Yeah. Oh, buddy.
So it's a brand new 6-cylinder, 3-liter.
3 liter.
We call it
It's pretty big still.
for a 6-cylinder, right? We call it a hot V most 6-cylinders or V8s, right? You've got the cylinders and the heads, and the fresh air comes in from the top and goes out the bottom, and the whole exhaust and everything hangs below the motor, right?
Right.
In this car,
This one we're
to
up
save
above.
weight, the turbos actually sit in the middle of the V.
Wow.
So we call it a hot V. And the only downside of doing that is that it creates a lot of heat on the top of the motor. So we put this literally, it's just a
vent?
velocity stack. So on the old race cars, when you look at the really
Whoa,
old,
it almost looks like
1970s,
a LT, like a 600 LT exhaust. Like,
but it's not. All it is a stack.
oh, somebody's gonna make flames shoot out of that.
Yeah, but there's nothing in there.
Yeah.
It's just a tube that goes down and resides above the turbos, because when they get hot,
And it just releases heat.
and because of the shape of it, as the heat starts climbing, it starts picking up speed.
Oh wow.
And it creates a vacuum below it.
I bet you could roast marshmallows over that at
There's
the
a
track,
YouTuber
man.
out there that's got
That's
a video.
doing that?
He puts a little teacup.
Yeah, I
on
can
it and he
imagine. Maybe a
boils
little
water.
Turkish coffee or something, you know? Wow.
But in doing
Wow.
that and putting the turbos up here, and the exhaust tips are right here, everything we do is about saving weight. The exhaust on this is actually lighter than a 911, which
Wow.
has the motor even back further. Right? It's all about saving weight.
Yeah, I mean, McLaren's it's the lightest and the stiffest, right?
So when you're comparing it to your GTS, different classic
oh
car,
my
we
God,
both
yeah,
know that,
completely. But it is so much lighter and stiffer.
3,061 pounds for a hybrid. So the last
insane.
conventional car that BMW made that was this weight was in 1990. with
Curious
the
to see how it
325i.
handles being that's a lot of, it's like feathery. Is it feathery?
Lowest center of gravity of all the street cars we've made.
Wow.
Very lightweight, very comparable to a 570 being a hybrid. When you roll on the throttle,
Yeah,
you're not
it's like
gonna
a
feel-
hybrid
You know your
570.
old 12C, right? Nothing, kind of whack with
Yeah.
the turbos.
Yep.
The
No
battery
turbo
on
lag.
this, because batteries and electric motors, they have their most power at 0 RPM, right?
Right.
Light turns green, you roll on the throttle.
Instant
That's when
torque.
the electric motor is the strongest, and the gasoline motor is its weakest because you're at idle, right?
Let me guess, they engineered that to kick in before
so
the
now
turbos
the
or
electric
something.
motors, as they start up here and they start losing power, right about the time the turbos are building boost.
So cool. So it kind of
it-
meets at some point. That's like
fills in
phew.
all the gaps, so you don't feel
no turbo lag.
You don't feel the turbo lag. It's still there, but it's masked by the pulling of the
That's-
electric motors. But the other thing you're probably going to feel,
That is
as good as
engineering.
our shifting has always been, you could always feel these cars shift, right?
Right.
You just
Seamless,
you
I
go
can
on the
imagine.
gas and you'd feel this bang. The electric
Well,
motor
especially on my
in-
12C, man. It's
it
rough.
kicked hard, right?
Yeah.
The electric motor is in the transmission, so when you're accelerating, it's always pushing the shaft.
Wow.
So even when the clutch goes in and comes out,
They're still
they're still pushing against it, so you don't feel it. I think you're going to like the way it's
seamless. And how long? When did they introduce it? It was 20.
Well, so they introduced these a
20,
year
right?
ago, but then because of COVID and all the logistics of getting all the parts and stuff,
They started to
put a
drop
hold
around.
on it, and that's why we're relaunching it now. But the dealers, all at this point, probably have at least one.
Yeah, I've seen a couple for sale. I mean, just in comparison, like a used one's gonna go for like 230, 240. Some of the new ones are going for like 270.
So the price on these is $233 for a base car, but that's a car you'll never see.
Right, to like 240 I saw McLaren announce, but I saw one at like
Some of the
270.
ones we've got, I think their average price now is about 270.
270.
You know,
for a new one.
You kick on a black pack or you put the Tech-Lux seats in it.
You're gonna get up there quick.
So let's
But I
go
mean, it's
drive
worth
one.
it. Let's do it. I'm in, man.
And the last thing I want to show you before we get... I already told you this is the new monocell, right?
This looks different.
If you reach down, one of the things they've improved is there's now enough room. Reach down in the front corner and you'll find standard seat controls on the seat itself.
Oh,
because, you know,
gotcha.
we've been tucking them in here,
Right here.
because the sill was so wide, there wasn't room.
Oh, now they can.
So now they can put just a conventional seat control in it
I like it.
with the Tech-Lux seats.
Are they all electronic, or they come with?
Well, like that one has the sport buckets, has a
Gotcha.
manual forward and back, but it does have the ability to tilt.
Ooh,
It's
these come
power.
standard.
Yeah, So this is
Extended-
the
little
standard
extended
wheels.
paddle shifters. I
those are
like that.
Standard wheel, very traditional McLaren, right? No
Right.
buttons or anything on the wheel.
Not busy.
McLaren just says, look, it's a steering wheel. It's designed to turn the
Yep.
car. A lot of other manufacturers are making these sort of like jewelry now, where they put every bell and
All the
whistle,
doodads and Bluetooth,
blinkers, and
I
everything
hate
else
that,
on it.
Yeah.
For this, all of those controls are within reach, so you don't have to take your hands off the wheel.
It's all designed properly.
For instance, down here, right, our power and handling controls. If you wanted to go to manual shifting, used to be all down here. You had to take your eyes off the road. It's all now up here.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, these are rocker switches. You just take your fingers and you can rotate them, right?
I see it now. I didn't even see those at first.
Yep. So that's what it's for. Some other things they've
buttons?
improved. Yeah, if you hit it, it just rotates them.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So some other improvements. People, you know, if you own the car for a while, you got used to it. But if you wanted to raise the nose on it, if you had the nose lift feature, you had to grab one of the stalks and go through the menu and find it.
And take it up.
Above your left knee on the dash now, you'll see there's a row of 4 buttons.
Yeah,
the
I see
one
it right there, the very first one.
So you don't even have to look down once you know where it is. You hit it.
Yeah,
you
becomes
can
muscle
raise
memory.
it. It drops on its own over 35, or you can manually
And they all
drop
have
it. Part of the tech package, yes.
Got you. Nice. Ready to fire
But
her up?
yeah, so foot on the brake and just hit the red button. And then just let it sit for a second. It'll boot up. When they boot
that's
up,
cool.
they automatically go to the comfort setting,
Okay.
right, for the suspension setting, which is controlled by this over here, and they boot up to electric. So right now it's an electric only
So it's
mode.
on.
It's on.
But it's full electric. Wow.
Full electric, like a plug-in, like
can
any other
you
plug-in.
ride it full electric when on the road?
Up to 82 miles an hour, up to, we can see on this one, we've still got 15 miles of range. We've been averaging, if they're full, 18, 19, some of them
But
20
when you
miles
switch
an hour.
to the
If you
Is it hybrid? It's considered hybrid?
It's a plug-in hybrid. So think, you know, obviously different class of car, but if you think about a Toyota RAV4,
right,
you plug it in, you can set it to all electric, and you could drive, if your commute is less than 10 miles each way, you could drive this car for months without really burning any fuel.
Interesting. And does it recharge the battery?
Yeah, if it can recharge the battery on its own. Well, you know, you can get a little extra mileage out of that. It doesn't do it with the brake system because we don't have electric motors on the wheels like some of the other cars out there, like a Toyota, for instance. But it does recharge. So they boot up in electric mode. Then you can go to comfort mode. Comfort
Now it'll
mode,
fire it
the
up.
engine may fire up or it may not. So now it operates like a
really?
conventional hybrid where it's really trying to maximize fuel economy, but
Right.
it's going to decide based on your demands. You start
What
up
to
a
do.
hill
It's
and you want to pass
fire
a
up.
truck, it'll fire up. But if you're coming down a hill or you're just doing 25 miles an hour in a school
And that's
zone,
in comfort. It'll take
shut
it
off. Yeah.
Got you.
So it'll do its own thing. Sometimes you'll see, even in electric mode, it
Will it
says
shut the
engine
motor
on.
down now?
Well,
Once it starts going?
see how it says engine on?
Yeah.
So it's in electric mode, but the engine's on because what it's trying to do is bring up the oil and water pressure. So unlike a lot of electric cars, I always call them a baseboard heater. They've got some sort of electric heater in them. Like if you have a little Nissan Leaf, right?
Yeah.
Or a Rivian RT1, it's got an electric heater in there, so it doesn't have to run. Even if it had a motor, it wouldn't have to run it.
Oh, it heats it
This
up with that
has
electric
this
heater.
has a conventional water-controlled heater core. So even if you're in
it might
electric
need the engine
mode,
to get it up
we've
to-
got the temperature set at 70 in here. It's got to get the water up to temperature.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
And it'll use the engine to do that.
And so
The engine on to
you're
do
going to
that.
drive. It still feels like it's in electric mode, but the engine's idling to warm up the water. And as
How
soon as
trippy is that?
soon as it gets up to temperature, the engine will shut off, and you're just driving.
So you
in
won't hear
electric
any
mode.
like of the engine doing any.
It
nothing.
basically just
It'll
kind of
just kinda
idles
be on.
along. It's not
Interesting.
actually driving the car.
That's kind of cool.
Okay, but if you go to sport mode, then
Now it takes the
now the
that out of
engine's on, but it takes that bit of it out. Now the engine will actually drive the car if it deems that it needs it. If you go to sport, now the engine's basically on all the time. You're driving the car with the engine. The hybrid system is basically supplementing it for
like you explained
performance.
earlier, like that.
Yep, to help push the car when you need it. If you come to a stoplight, it might shut the motor off just like all the other
Can
auto
you turn that
stop-starts.
off,
No, if you're in sport mode,
No.
it just stays like that. If you want to turn that feature off,
You can go in and you got to go track.
track mode.
Gotcha.
It no longer cares about fuel economy. That's the whole thing that drives all of those logics, right? Is it's trying to get some sort of
some
better
sort
fuel
of efficiency.
economy.
Yeah.
In sport, okay, we care a little bit about fuel, but
And
it's
it's
more
not
about
like it doesn't give
performance.
you that option at literally a click of a button.
Correct.
It's like you can't complain too
Exactly.
much. Yeah.
In track mode, engines on all the time. It no longer is concerned about fuel efficiency. This is all about performance. So, and all of these settings, comfort, sport, and track, it also affects the transmission logic, how long it holds onto the gears, how quick it shifts, how much throttle pressure it takes before it downshifts, right? In electric mode, it's being driven by the electric motors, so you won't feel it go through the gears.
It's seamless. Gotcha.
It's
This is going to be
this you can feel it a little bit, but it's still going to be
because it's high
way
revs.
smoother. Right. It's just up at 6 grand.
Yeah, it's maxing it out.
Grand.
It's seeing what the thing can do.
And then here, you know, on the old ones,
handling, and then same thing with the handling.
Yep.
We
go ahead and click the top. It'll go to sport.
handling.
It takes a couple of seconds for the shocks to do what they need to do, so we'll go through those out on the road here so you can feel the difference.
And I'm sure you guys have a nice.
What I will
curated
tell
route.
you, yeah, we're going to try. I mean, there's only so much you can do in the valley here.
It's true.
What I will tell you is click it one more time. Even in the track setting,
It's still pretty damn.
because this car is so light, what people don't think about, you get in a big BMW, right? And I love BMW as a brand. Buy a new M3, 4,400 pounds.
It's gonna be rough.
Upright 6-cylinder, right? They're pretty tall motors. You go into a tight corner at high speed at a racetrack, the body wants to lay over.
Yep. They make so much noise at the track.
In order to prevent that, they put heavy springs on it and big sway bars. So if you look at even an M2, the sway bar is much bigger than my thumb.
Wow.
That's what holds the car level, right? That's why they have so much grip. The downside is you hit a pothole going to work, that sway bar is so thick and the spring is so stiff.
It's just like a block of wood.
Exactly. The tire doesn't want to move. This car, one of the lowest center of gravities of any production car you can buy, plus it's just barely over 3,000 pounds. The springs on these are a lot lighter, and the sway bar on the back of this is
even in
smaller than
track, you're getting
way better ride quality. So you're going to notice it because
and I know
you're a
that
car
about
guy.
McLarens, man.
You're going to feel that right away.
Yep.
So what I'd like to do, just so that you can
Does
get
this
the
have
experience,
traditional sway bars?
it's got a traditional
It
sway
does, so
bar,
it's not
but
like
it's
this
smaller than my finger.
I thought it was amazing about the 12C that it had the independent wheel suspension, but it was also kind of this like back of your mind anxiety. I don't have a warranty on that.
This is all kind of conventional.
Got you.
But one of the big improvements with this new monocell is the rear suspension kind of bolts to the monocell instead of to a separate subframe. It's bolted to the monocell.
More balance.
And the arms are a little longer. They claim that this car has more mechanical grip without downforce, without the big wings, right? Without
Yeah, I
the
don't
air
see
brakes.
a big wing.
It has more mechanical grip than any other car we've made. It's so soft. It's going to be like the big GT car that we sell, right?
Increases your, what do they say? Increases your confidence or whatever a little too much.
But because it's so soft, everybody thinks, oh, it's not going to do well at the racetrack. It has so much mechanical grip because of how they've designed the new suspension.
I mean, McLaren is track
This
focused,
thing, this thing would easily outrun a 570.
Yeah.
Easily. So let's drive it, but go put it back in comfort mode. So just click that twice.
We'll go comfort,
and electric. Yep, go all the way to electric. And let's see if the water's up to temperature. When we start driving, it should shut off.
Shut off. Okay, sweet.
Right, so it's still saying the engine's on. That little arrow tells me that the nose is up.
Gotcha.
So we can leave it up. It'll drop on its own.
Oh, it will. It drops on its own.
35 miles an hour-ish, somewhere in there. And then it'll lower down. You'll hear a beep. You'll see that thing flashing.
It's really ripping.
It drops.
It still will.
Yep.
Okay.
Foot on the brake, hit drive.
And we're going out this way?
We're going to go out and around the nose of this car.
I didn't even know there was a
that's the other driveway.
way to go out. All right, we're good.
So, and the seat belts, so if your seat belt's on, the e-brake will shut off on its own. If your seat belt isn't clipped, you have to manually take it off.
Gotcha.
But right now,
That's cool.
you just give it gas, you'll feel the brake will release.
Yeah.
Then we'll just drop down. Oh, stop right here for just a second and get the nose out. Now we can drop down.
What a house.
Yeah, they
I
use
wouldn't know
it for
what
a
to
big
do with this
venue. I don't think the owner really knows what to do with it.
Yeah,
He rents it out. He actually lives in the guest house.
it's more like a hotel.
There's like 8 bedrooms in it. And
10 bathrooms.
yeah.
Just know when you're behind the wheel of one. There's something about their engineering. Very precise.
They're so light.
Scalpel.
hydraulic steering still,
Yeah,
right? Everybody else has gone
fantastic.
to electric power steering. That gives them the ability to.
And I actually don't like that. So my AMG has, thank God, still has the hydraulic steering.
Yep.
too.
But it's one of the very few cars that does,
Very
right?
few. Yep.
The one advantage for a lot of people who aren't drivers, the one advantage is it can give them lane placement technology, right? But
That lane assist or whatever.
yeah,
all that,
because you've
yep.
got electric power steering, you can bump the steering. We can't do that. But what we
It's a
do
McLaren.
deliver is
Go drive your
a much-
minivan if you want
exactly,
that, man.
yeah.
I hate when people review these cars and they start talking like their bad points are like storage space and like
it's not a
visibility. And it's like, dude, if you want that, you're reviewing the wrong car.
So here's the thing about visibility, though. This
Oh, the
car
visibility is
is
fantastic.
better than any other car in its class.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Most people don't realize that, like in 2014, the feds redid the rollover crash requirements. in
Oh
a
wow,
car.
I didn't know that.
So the roof had to be stronger. In order to do that, as they laid the windshields back further to get better gas mileage, right?
I heard something
These
about that.
A-pillars, if you go to
They got
your
thinner.
Mercedes bid,
Oh, they're gigantic.
They're huge.
It's the worst visibility thing about the car, but I still
But
don't.
now you,
see it.
know why, right?
Yeah.
We laid the windshield back so they lost all the strength.
Interesting.
And then they raised the requirements, so they had to be stronger. So these A-pillars are getting massive. That's why all these car manufacturers have pedestrian detection, because you can't see people in a crosswalk
You
anymore.
really can't. Yeah, some of those big they're
You just
A-pillars are
can't.
huge.
So these, by being carbon fiber, are so much stronger, and we don't really have to have a big B-pillar here anymore. You can actually turn your head and see if there's a motorcyclist
No,
here.
I mean, I really mean
Water's
it.
up to temperature.
Oh, so it shut off.
So just drive. Floor it. It's only 94 horsepower. Floor it.
yeah, it's
So it'll drive just like this.
It's like a Tesla.
Up to 18, 19 miles an hour.
It's literally like a P100.
Yeah. Or up to 18, 19 miles total range. And we'll stop here. We're eventually going to go left. So I just want to talk about this for a second. So you can have up to almost 20 miles range.
On the full electric.
Full electric up to 82 miles an hour.
Wow.
Right?
I mean, that's everything you need,
But
really.
for commuting,
Yeah.
right? It's
If you have
fast
a
enough.
30-minute drive.
You can run in traffic, stop and go, but that's not why people buy McLarens, right? So if I hit this a couple times, we'll put it up in sport mode.
Now we have a little more fun.
671 total horsepower, so 94 horsepower from the electric motor.
Wow.
560 or so, just under, from the 3-liter gasoline engine.
Wow.
Okay, so it's blind both ways.
I mean, you kind of have the best of all the worlds right here.
And when you get on it, I want you to get out, make the turn, and then get on it.
Yeah, and you can see the heat rising from that.
From that velocity
That's
stack, that
very
chimney.
Cool. We good? No. This is a terrible turn.
It is
now.
terrible, but
Even
we'll get
turning in was pretty bad. I think we're good.
there. Yep. Now stay off the gas for a second. Give some room here when we make the corner.
And we're in manual, correct?
no,
Not manual. I'm sorry.
it's in automatic.
Yeah.
Touch a paddle, and you'll see it goes A/M. So you can use the paddles.
Yep, gotcha.
If you don't touch them for 10 or 11 seconds,
You know,
it
just so
goes
I can
back to
focus on
being
the
an
card, we'll stay away from the manual.
Yep.
We'll see what
So
the car
now
can
it's
do.
back to being an automatic. Go.
Wow.
So hear that beep? The nose is lowering. Now floor it all the way to the carpet. All the way. Come on.
Wow. It doesn't give up.
Do you see how
There's
you
no
don't
lag.
feel, and it didn't bang your head when
There
you
is
shifted?
zero lag. It's almost like like a pure electric motor is what it felt like.
You don't feel that big whack that you used to feel.
It's like
You
ludicrous
don't.
mode in the Tesla is what that
Exactly.
just felt like.
So
Wow,
go down to second gear. Second gear. Get it up around $3,000. Now floor it. Floor it. Come on, all the way. You're not going to the carpet. There we go.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you don't feel any lag.
Downshift. Where's the shift? You know how your car
No
used to
jerking.
bang your head? Upshift.
Nothing.
You hear the motor change.
Even when adding a little bit of throttle, when you shift, sometimes 99% of cars, even the
feel
best,
your head
you
move.
feel your head move.
You don't in this.
This is seamless. Very nice.
It's pretty wild, isn't it?
It is wild. It honestly feels like an electric car with the engine sound.
With an engine sound.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go
Wow.
straight here. Hopefully he's not. Oh, maybe he is too. We'll still get a good run on the way back.
I know,
So
I hate being
we're
mindset.
gonna take this up. I don't know. It goes maybe 3/4 of a mile. We'll do a little roundabout. But the reason I want to go up this road is because it's got seams.
This thing's fast.
So I want you to hit the seams, feel it, and then we'll change the ride quality.
Gotcha.
So this isn't about going fast, so it doesn't matter if we're following the truck.
No,
I
it's
just
good.
want you to.
I'm kind of feeling out the car. It's
The ride quality is pretty good.
it's
isn't it?
fantastic.
So when we get up here, he's probably going to pull into this ranch. Yeah. So just pick up a little bit of speed. You can see the seams. Do you feel them?
No,
You can hear them though, right?
yeah.
So now if I hit this,
now you'll be able to feel them a little bit. Oh wow, wow.
right? Big difference. You can actually feel them in your butt now.
Feels amazing.
Right? Clunk, clunk,
It was like
clunk.
a 7 Series or something when in comfort mode.
But if I go back to this,
Yeah, it's like a 7 Series on full comfort. It's like amazing.
same seams, but and you can hear them, but you don't really feel them.
I like when you can actually see the difference of those. The drive modes.
remember
This
when-
is significant.
Now floor it. The carpet, come on, all the way.
I like to say we keep it under 55, and
They're way quicker.
see, I don't look down when I'm ripping, right? You know, it's not time for that.
But they're way quicker than people think
Oh,
because
it's
they don't
quick.
feel fast.
It is
You don't
quick.
get all of those sensations that you know. A lot of guys
Is
drive
there
at
an
the
intake
racetrack.
sound generator option,
No.
or it's purely based on the
This is
modes
it.
that you
It's-
select, right?
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, I can hear it a lot more now than it's in track, and it sounds really good too. I heard that was a couple of the gripes with the cars, the sound. But
You
I
know,
mean, what are you complaining about? It
Here's the
sounds
thing.
amazing.
Nothing's going to sound like an old Lamborghini V10,
Right, it's not a
or
V12.
Ferrari
Yeah, it's not
V8,
straight pipe.
naturally aspirated. Right, you're just never going to get that sound.
I
just love how
great
smooth they
on the
are.
curve. Yeah.
They accelerate so smooth.
There's no give up in power all throughout the acceleration and into the gears. And you're right. I mean, really, you are right. There is no rocking.
It's
amazing.
It just fills in all those blanks.
And usually
From
you
the
feel
turbo
that
lag
rocking
and the
at first,
shifting.
second, third.
Yep.
No matter what, usually I don't feel any of it. If anything, you kind of just feel it plunk you back in your seat a little
No,
bit.
that's funny because I have a lot of people that are used to like their Huracans. They drive these,
Right.
And I can see them lean forward when they're getting ready
Right.
to shift because they're waiting for that.
I mean, the Huracans are just very uncomfortable. They're super
Brutal,
uncomfortable,
brutal,
just
yeah.
brutal. Not a fun, not really. I mean, they sound okay, right? But this is like I said, it's like a samurai sword. It's precise, it's sharp, sophisticated.
The little features that
The
they put into
downshifts are
this,
just
I know,
smooth.
They're pretty cool.
It honestly just seems like it's adding in an engine noise,
Yep.
but nothing's really happening in the engine, but it is.
And I can tell people that, but until you drive it, especially
Absolutely.
back to back with something else,
Oh, my
that's when
car's
you
gonna
realize.
be very rough and rugged after this, and it's not even a rough and rugged car, so to speak. But this is just smooth. God, it's fast, dude. This is a nice little curve, and it's just
Yeah.
it's handles so good.
And the shifting is so smooth. This is one of the first cars you literally can get mid-turn and go up or down a gear, and it
And not
doesn't
even-
unsettle the car.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was just about to say this on the track seems like it's extremely capable.
I think I could keep up with a GT3 RS in this.
Yep. Yeah, those are usually the guys I beef with at the track, right?
Yeah.
The GT3 RS guys.
Yeah, they're the guys that think
They got
bought
the best track car. We
Yep.
got the, yep.
And I think you could take this.
Because on
It'll
those
turn
turns,
right
you
at the
might
light.
get them.
Well, it's 350 pounds lighter than the newest
I know
GT3
McLaren doesn't
RS.
like it, but I mean a simple tune on this thing, and I'm sure
Oh.
you got more power too.
Oh, easily. You could get this thing easy to 800 horsepower.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing acceleration. 0 to 60 before you can even think about
So let it. Now it's in automatic mode. Take your hands away from the pedals. Slow down a little bit. Now floor it. Just floor it all the way to the carpet, and don't shift. Just let it do it. Let it go.
Interesting. It really redlines it. Wow, it's better than me shifting it. I'm
Well,
so used to shifting.
You're just taking
I'm
care of it as
taking.
if it's yours.
I'm babying it a little bit. That's so true. I was babying it.
If you run it to 8,500, you can still see it 80 miles an hour. It was trying to spin the rear
I
wheel.
can see that.
We're going to take a left up here, but you can floor it one more time. There's a turn lane. You'll see it. See when it gets to $6,000,
Oh, there's no give up.
right right.
It can
We're
go
gonna make that
forever with that valve, it seems like. Wow. That puts a smile on my face. U-turn?
Yep. No, U-turn. Just make the left. We're gonna follow this around.
Wow. Wow.
So take the left rocker switch, click it back into track. Yep. So hit the top twice. There's once. There's twice. There we go. Just because it's a little more windy up here, and just hustle a little bit like you're late for work.
I mean, it sounds good. I don't know what the problem is with everybody saying it doesn't sound good. I think it sounds amazing.
Because the guys that write that,
they're used to like a straight pipe Lambo or something. This is different animal.
Yeah. Well, and this is a car you can drive every day without pissing your neighbor's setting, and this is still relatively
it's
comfortable.
so smooth.
I love the steering and the way it feels.
Oh, it's amazing. I love the steering wheel too.
Take it easy here.
I
I'm not
actually
sure what
have
that
always
guy's doing.
preferred the all leathers over the Alcantara. My hands get sweaty.
Yep. Yep.
Especially at like a hot track day or something.
So we're gonna make a left here.
This at the track, man.
Even on a rough road like
amazing.
this.
There's no unbalancing in the car.
You can feel those rear tires. Even
It's to break loose, but it's so well balanced that it doesn't.
and we have probably the world's fastest stability
I
control.
mean, it feels like it's ripping pavement off of the ground, right?
Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Brake hard, really hard.
Amazing. Love the brakes. Carbon ceramics are standard.
Yep. I mean, that's what you get with 3,000 pounds, right? So we'll hang it right here.
Wow, the brakes are great too.
When you have a car that's only 3,000 pounds.
Oh, I wish we could have.
So what do you think?
I think it's amazing. I mean, really do.
We're really happy with these things.
Yeah, this is an amazing.
They're comfortable.
car.
They got room to sit in here with a helmet.
And I think you guys are doing the right thing by more people just need to drive them.
Yep.
Get the word out that hey, that thing is amazing. All right, boys. Just finished up with the McLaren Artura test drive, and let me tell you, amazing car. It is an amazing car. It's extremely precise, extremely smooth, like I have said before. I'm gonna go ahead and pop my car into track mode, and we're gonna take a similar route. I'm gonna take a similar route that I just took in the Artura, put it in race, I'm sorry, not track mode. Getting out of the McLaren, I keep thinking track mode, but in the AMG GTS, it's actually race mode. So we're gonna put it into race mode. It's gonna say handling modes on sport, essentially to let you know traction is a little bit off, but not completely. I thought it was really cool about the Artura. If I could say my favorite feature about the entire car, first of all, it's very smooth, very precise, extremely fast, as you can imagine from a McLaren. But I think that the variable traction control 15 different settings, and essentially what that means is it's going to allow you to drift a little bit more and more and more at the track, but not allow you to get out of control. I think that's amazing. I mean, even on the AMG GTR, there's 7. On this car, there's 3. So I think that's pretty damn cool, to be honest with you. And that would be a lot of fun at the racetrack. But nonetheless, it was a very, very fun ride. I'm curious to see how my car is going to handle in the hills. This is the first time I'm in the hills in my car. So, up in the canyons, I should say. So we'll see how she does. Got the valves are open. I'm going to pop it into manual mode. I got it in race. And let's see what the comparison is. I can already tell you right now, the visibility in my car is significantly less than in the McLaren. Like me and Wes were talking about, I got these giant A-pillars. They're a lot smaller in the Artura. Say bye to these guys, man. But I can tell you right now that my car, my AMG, just the sound is wicked. The backfires are amazing. I didn't get any of that in the McLaren. It doesn't have the supercar sound that some supercar guys are after.
But that's okay if that's not what you're after. If you're after a supercar that's not extremely loud and obnoxious like a Huracan or a GTS or a GTR or something like that, then it might be the car for you. So, let's see. We're going to take almost the identical route that we took in the Artura. I can tell you right now, my shifts are pretty seamless too. Not as seamless as the Artura. That has the hybrid assist, the e-assist motor, so you're not going to have any jerks. But I do feel them in my car a little bit. And I said that about the 12C actually. Is I don't prefer those jerks or anything, but it gives a little bit of emotion to the car. I think driving a car should be a collaboration between the driver and the car. And sometimes some of these newer cars, they have too much electronics going on. It kind of takes the emotion of driving out. It's like not even really you driving the car is kind of driving for you, and you're just kind of sort of in the passenger seat of the car, so to speak. So this car is not like that. As you can see, it just caught a little drift coming out of the driveway here. It's a $4 million mansion that we just left. Right, and have a little fun with my car and see what it can do. Wow. I mean, you hear that, those backfires and pops? Woo. Again, these are completely different animals. The Artura and the AMG are different animals, but they're both absolute weapons, so it's a matter of picking your weapon. I feel like the Artura was faster than my car. Not to say that this car is not fast at all, but the McLaren is lightning. It's an extremely fast car. This car has more emotion, seems to get out of the corners a little bit quicker. Maybe it's just the exhaust sound that it's making that gives me the illusion that it's doing so. Or maybe it's the fact that I feel like I'm in more control of this car than I was in the McLaren. The McLaren, I feel like it's more like a video game simulation, but in real life, as weird as that sounds, guys, it's almost like a Gran Turismo simulator. And I actually just watched that movie last night, so maybe that's why that's in my head. But yeah, this car is definitely not as fast. I can tell you that right now, but it is absolutely a joy to drive. It's quick. More motion, more sound. I feel more connected to this car than I did in the Artura, but the Artura is just significantly faster. It's significantly smoother of a ride, even in track mode, which I'm in race or track, if you want to call it that, for comparison purposes. I'm in that mode right now in the McLaren or in the GTS. So comparing apples with apples in terms of the handling modes, it's still smoother. The McLaren is still significantly smoother. But this has motion. So, very interesting comparison, to be honest with you. Very different cars, but again, like I said, just two absolute weapons. And keep in mind, this car is 8 years older than the McLaren Artura, so you can imagine what a 2023 GTR would do for less than the Artura. So that's something to also keep in mind. There's just so, like you heard Wes say, there's so many good cars now. Every car manufacturer is making a fantastic car, sub 3 seconds, 3-second cars. They all have e-assist motors. They all have all the little features and whatnot. It all is going to boil down to the driving experience and the emotion that the car is giving back to you and what you're seeking. So if you're an older lawyer or what have you, or you're a doctor, you're a middle-aged doctor or something like that, and you like to get home to your mansion and don't want to bother your neighbors, you're probably not going to want to go get a twin-turbo Huracan built by Sheepy and just come ripping home every day. But you might. So that's where you might start to look at the Artura, is you want something fast, you want something sophisticated, you want a supercar, you still want to have a couple track days a year, and you want one car to be able to do all of those things. I think the Artura can do that. Multiple GT3 RSs at the racetrack. I've chased down multiple GT3 RSs at the racetrack, but I've never seen one of those guys drive to the racetrack. They're getting their cars trailered there, they're hopping in them, they're ripping around the track, and they're going home. They're maybe doing a cars and coffee on Sunday, but it's not really a car that they're daily riding. I mean, I'm not talking about the guys up in Orange County and the YouTubers and stuff that are out there ripping those cars every day. Hats off to them. But most of the owners are not doing that. So I think the Artura is more catering to like a mixed person, in the sense of they want a car that can do multiple things and do multiple things very well, and also has the e-assist motor. So I think it's a new age buyer, and I think that's why McLaren might be having some trouble selling that car. Hence why they're kind of putting on these driving events to kind of get the word out there. Is I think it's a new age buyer. The buyer that wants an Artura doesn't even really know they want an Artura yet. They might have 1 or 2 track days under their belt. They know they want to do that every like once or twice a year, but they don't want a track focused car, but they kind of want a McLaren. You know, I describe McLaren as a track focused street legal car. I would describe this GTS as a street legal track car. So it's street legal, it's street focused track car, and the McLaren is a track focused street car. So a little bit different, but they're still just, I mean, comparing this with the Artura, completely different animals, completely different price range. I think there is a market for that Artura. I think they are going to sell a bunch of them. I think it would do amazing at the track, all those drifts, and about that variable mode. If you put it into, like, let's say mode 5 and the tilt is like, I don't know, whatever, how many degrees it is, it's not going to allow you to go any further. It's not going to really allow you any less. It'll kind of sort of lock into that on a turn, and it'll keep you there. And again, it depends on what kind of driver you are. I'm a driver. I like to drive the car. I like driver-focused race cars and supercars, and I think that takes that away from me. It takes the control away. And I know you could probably shut it all off, but knowing from my 12C, it's like firing off a nuclear missile in order to turn off the traction. You got to hold these 2 buttons down. You got to flick the wheel 3 times. You got to. It's like crazy to turn off the traction all the way. I mean, you could turn it on track mode, and that turns most of it off, but it's still there. It's still going to kind of kick in. This, you can turn it off quite easily, and you have zero, or there's no car. The car's not going to interfere. So if you make a mistake, you're going to feel that mistake, and I kind of prefer that. That's essentially why I like the 12C over the other models that were out at the time. Is it seemed to have a little bit more emotion, a little bit more race car and track focused, and I get that with this car a lot too. It's a driver's car. It's a true driver's car, and I've been enjoying it. All right, guys, so I am almost out of battery. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. I'm ripping through the canyon still. I'm in race mode. I'll go ahead and catch up with you guys on the next one. Much love.